It was a very sullen crowd.
GM, everybody? Or is it no longer the morning?
It's an NFT.NYC GM, yeah. Hopefully everyone's awake by now.
I guess I'll start off. How's everybody doing? My name is Albano. I'm professionally known as Ming. I'm a record producer. I have been in this business for about 25 years. I'm a label owner, a publisher. I've been in the commercial music world. And I'm super excited about Web3 and DAOs in NFTs.
So Taylor, in the NFT crypto space, I go by Warhodl. Background, branding and marketing. I've done startups from an iPhone app to a CPG brand. In 2018, with the ICO era, I started painting Bitcoin soup cans as a hobby. And then last year, with the NFT space, it really took off. And so I just crossed 700 collectors predominantly through the NFT space. It's kept me busy, and it's been a whirlwind.
My name's Shiv, Madan. I've been in the space since about 2017, started a company named Block Party, which was NFT tickets, way too early. Now pivoted into a generalized NFT marketplace. Now I run a company named Moonwalk, which is a Web3 launchpad, no code, all in one. I also, on the side, just make pixelated art and have sold 2 collections, about 6,000 NFTs so far, so that's been fun too.
So how creators build communities now. What's really interesting for me is that if we take this all the way back to Web 1, right? There was the sort of the wild west of the web. And we were finding ways to connect to each other digitally that didn't exist before. We had blogs, we didn't have social media, but we had this new way to be global without actually having to have a global presence. And now I feel like the same thing is starting to happen again with Web3, where we have this sort of global presence in a new format with the blockchain, digital contracts, and being able to track and distribute our art or music instantly, but also having a one-to-one connection with our fans.
Yeah, it's interesting when we think about how the community development has happened over the different types of web stages. Web 1 was, okay, we've got to deal with the record label to get access to audiences, and they're not going to give us any data, and hopefully we get a 20% or up to 50% type of deal. Web 2, okay, now we've got our email addresses for all of our users, and we get them on Patreon. We make subscription money, but the users don't get that much. Or we're on Spotify and Facebook, and we just get to retarget people, but ultimately it's to the benefit of the platforms. And now we're in this place where we've got tokens where not only do the creators get to distribute them, whether they're ERC20s or 721s or on other chains, but the fans and now the community gets to participate in the upside as they participate in the brand. So it becomes a really virtuous cycle where you create an asset and then you create that utility, and now everyone's participating in the upside of that digital asset. So it's just been a fascinating shift, and I think you were talking about it backstage about how that as you move that to DAOs, what that could mean for creators as they grow.
100%.
Yeah, and for me, again, having mentioned as an artist at the beginning of last year, it really took off through the NFT space. So much of that was through lockdown and spending time on Clubhouse. And ultimately, when you think about what NFTs are, so much it's a function on the blockchain. And so what that means, when you add the NFT layer on top, it's a direct value exchange happening in real time thanks to Clubhouse early days, now Twitter Spaces. And so just to see that, you're pulling a crowd or you're pulling a tribe without having those filters of, a Facebook, if you will. It's transactionable instantaneously, and that's just something that felt like such a paradigm shift, having been a creative for so long and as an artist for a few years, like trying to promote myself on Instagram or like trying to have that convert into meaningful value inbound.
I want to ask you about that, because ultimately as a creator, we're still sitting here with 0 followers on day one, and we're trying to build a brand out of the things that we're creating and offering people. On Web 2 platforms, fine, we've got advertising mechanisms to grow audiences, but in Web 3, it feels like we've got the infrastructure where, grab my NFT and we'll all do well, and we'll all also, you get to own it and have the utility. But how do you get that out there? Is it still dealing with Clubhouse and Twitter? Are we still in that influencer type of world where we need the support of third parties to help us grow?
Well, the notion of go where the people are, Twitter is very much ground zero for the crypto and NFT space. It feels less dependent on a platform, a Web 2 platform such as a Facebook or Twitter, but it's still where the eyeballs and the attention are. For me, it was at the beginning of last year with 12 followers on my artist Twitter account, because I wasn't promoting it on Twitter. I would go through and like with collectors and other artists, I'd go through, like their tweets, and then also go through the tweet replies and like all of those tweets. And so with 12 followers, that led to selling out my initial batch of, it's like 34 different soup cans that I did within the first week. So the notion of it takes followers, not always, but in terms of where people are spending time, it is Twitter in so many ways.
Do you do any Discord stuff or no?
I did Discord in the ICO era. It consumed my life for at least a year, to the dismay of my girlfriend at the time and my parents. But as an artist, no. It's overwhelming personally, and to have another server to manage and maintain. Artist friends of mine that do, again, there's being a solo operator or there's being a PFP. It's a necessary evil on that type of project level, but not personally.
Are you finding that your connections with fans or other artists or the communities are more direct when you're doing it through your Twitter account? Is it your most stable interaction? Or do you find that as you're selling or creating new art, you're really finding a more one-to-one connection with your purchaser and then future purchasers or people who are just interested in the art in itself?
There are those collectors that stand out, the people that resonate with what you're doing the most and that being expressed. So, there's a handful of collectors that I think to interact with first, and it's not based on monetary value or sales thus far. It comes down to connection. Twitter is a great way to do it. Twitter Spaces does have a different feel than Clubhouse for some reason. But ultimately, I think of Instagram. If you have a specific piece of content that you want to interact on rather than a tweet, because Instagram is visual. But I also will try and get on the phone. With my collectors, as much as I can gather even email, it's just, there's different avenues.
Yeah, for music, it's a little bit different because there's multi-dimensions that you need for a music fan. It's not just, I like the way something looks, or I like the way something feels, or I want to collect from this artist. I think as a music creator, what's necessary in my world is we want fans and collaborators who are not just interested in buying music as an NFT, as a one-off project and supporting a small project. We're interested maybe in moving towards a DAO format where everybody's a stakeholder in the music community, and the record labels make it, they change from being the powerhouse owning 80% of the title, owning the master or licensing the master, to all of the fans having a piece of the music, all of the fans having a stake in your live concerts, all of the fans having a stake in your merchandise, all of the fans having a stake in your marketing. So people can be active, and that DAO could grow and be a collective of different musicians, different artists, different labels that all have a similar maybe direction that they're going, but the interaction between your fan base and the artists and the musicians themselves becomes an interactive pool.
I want to take a pause to welcome Michael to the stage. But also just want to touch on this one thing before I jump over to your. On the DAO side, can it be an NFT, DAO of 700 collectors, or does it have to be, a Uniswap drop, uni token, sort of millions and millions of people? What's the quantum, and can we start small? I mean, not every creator in this room is, some people have 0 followers and just starting out. Other people are.
Well, so I think the 0 follower concept is a great concept, right? Because you, as a creator, you could spend all this time making something magical, but you're really not spending time marketing yourself if you can't do those things at the same time. What a DAO would do for you is if you have a like-minded group of people, say you had 1,000 initial token holders, or it could start with an NFT. It could be very simple. It doesn't have to be all written and contracted out. It can evolve over time. But that would immediately give you 1,000 people connecting with your artwork, right? If they were interested in investing. Maybe that becomes 10,000. Maybe that becomes 100,000. Because the communities really can start focusing on what it is that they're interested in having in the future. How do they want to support the music that they would like? And there's so many amazing applications to this. If you think about growing a music DAO or a label DAO system to, let's just scale it to 100,000 members, right? I don't know what the monetary, value of that would need to be, but you start to be able to bring bands and artists to places that they can't traditionally play because the venues are too small, or it's not on the tour, it's not on the routing for tours, right? And large artists often can't come to your small town because it's too costly for them. So they do the coasts, they just do the big circle around the country. Same thing with merchandising. Most bands can't afford to do merchandise until they reach a certain size. But if they were part of a DAO, maybe somebody they're doing collectives with artists, right? Fan art could be part of what you're selling. And it becomes more of an interactive peer-to-peer, one-to-one community, even though there's many, many people involved. And people can put into it what they want and take out of it what they want. But they're part of, it's more than just being a fan now. Now it's being part of the ownership and bringing the artist to light.
Yeah.
Quick intro.
Check it out. Listen, hi. I'd like to say hi to everybody. My name is Mike Mongo, and I am not ordinarily this. I acknowledge my broken agreement. I would ordinarily be on time. Warhodl and I are friends in real life, so he knows a special thing about that I get to share with you all. If I could ask you not to tweet it or anything like that. In addition to NFTs, I've been in NFTs since 2017, and I also work in astronautics, and it's being announced tonight that I've been selected as an astronaut on a Blue Origin mission. Yes. Wow. So at the NBA, yeah. My name is Mike Mongo, and I'm going to space. Pow, pow, pow. I was going to get my flight suit. That's why I was late to be here. I apologize. Your time and my time is valuable to me. NFTs is the world. I wouldn't be here today without community. When I started this whole thing, I got into NFTs in 2017, and we started a project called Crypto Titties. Not Crypto Kitties, Crypto Titties. And it's the first project, it's the 29th project on the blockchain, 9 days after Etherrocks. And so we've been maintaining a community that entire time. Well, we used to call NFTs crypto collectibles. And then it transitioned into this monumental event that we're all at today. The one thing that I can, and before that, I co-founded Obey with Shepard Fairey. So I did that for 15 years. We've been cultivating community this entire time as artists and creators. And the key to everybody in here, if I could share one piece of insight to take away, it's this. When you create a community, make sure it is with people that you want to play with, that you want to participate with, that you want to engage with and you want to interact with. It is really simple to make money. Honest to goodness, it is. All you got to do is sell your soul. It's like, bah, and money comes your way. But if you want to walk through this space with integrity and wake up every morning and be as excited as me and you are, we talk about it, about our communities, it is doing what you love with who you love and helping others. Do what you love with who you love and help others. If you do all those three, you cannot fail. If you miss one, it's a strike. Do what you love with who you love and help others. And that is the whole core of all of this. So many of us are, pow, pow, pow. How many of us have communities that we're responsible to right now? May I see a show of hands? Right. And how many people realize how much work it takes to do that day in and day out? Right. Discord, somebody was unlocking a Discord here. They're like, I'm starting a Discord. I'm like, okay, the unlock code is 666. Start there because it is HE double toothpick. I got my 11-year-old here with me. He's a little degen. Walking up to people and saying, can I get an 8 from you? I'm not joking. That's what he's been doing this entire time. And so like that's another part of the community is I involve my family and I involve my people. I make sure that the people in my life are part of what I'm doing. I'm not the person that goes up and teaches people that, may I teach you the way of my Lord and Savior NFT. I'm not that person. If you can't see that what we're doing is adding value to the world, then that's okay with me. Go do the thing that adds value. But when it comes to what we're doing, what all of us here are doing, if people don't see your light, move on to the place where people see your light. That is very important. And when you're true to yourself like that, like I said, walk with integrity. The community will gravitate towards you. Whenever I create a project now, and I create projects all the time, one of my very first thoughts is who is it I want to play with? Who is the person, who are the group of people that I want to engage with? And that is really the most important thing about community that I have to share today. I really appreciate
Great, man.
that.
Love it.
Pow.
That's the energy right there.
You know, and you had asked, how do I connect with my people, right? And you know, the true answer is IRL. IRL it reigns supreme in my view. You know, see it, feel it, touch it. We're beings at the end of the day. Last night, along with 3 other artists, we did a live painting event, and it was a blast. And that's my collector base, being able to just come spend time, like, you know, and again, doing soup cans. I had a 3-foot-tall soup can that everyone could add to.
Wait a minute. By the way, the 3 other artists were Sabet, Eddie Gangland, and Gay Weiss. He's not going to humble brag, but just to let you know how Warhodl's rolling.
But it was such a blast. I'm like, we have to do this again. So tomorrow morning, it's on my Twitter. 11 o'clock, we're doing mimosas, and I'm live screen printing on canvas. And like, just that experiential factor, it makes a mark. So that ultimately is my most favorite and preferred way of connecting with people that resonate with what you're doing.
100%. And what I also found kind of amazing about this whole NFT.NYC is I didn't expect it to feel the way it feels. I don't know if you're all feeling that as well. It feels like a festival. It doesn't feel like a boring, rote, I don't know, forum for techies or nerds or, you know, whatever. It feels like there's a lot of great energy here. And that's the part that I'm enjoying the most is that being here with so many interesting people and finding new communities of people, new designers, new artists, other musicians who are in the space that I didn't know they were in the space has been brilliant. And I think I hope that this, you know, NFT.NYC continues to have that same energy going forward because, this is my town, so it's easy for me. I'm a New Yorker, so I just, this is like, keep it here, this is great. But, there's a lot going on in LA, there was a lot going on in Miami. But if we can keep this kind of energy and keep building here, it's going to be special.
Yeah, and it was much needed.
Yeah, very, very much needed. Does anyone open up anything to questions? We have a little bit of time left. Just hear us yap. Does anyone have any particular questions? Bueller?
I just want to say one other thing on adding on that is that so we're all out here and we're all meeting people, and that's just amazing and that's important, especially for younger people. Be sure and go up and just introduce yourself. Like, don't be afraid to do that. And if someone shines you, they may be busy, or that just may be who they are, that's okay. Go on to the next person. Don't sweat that. If somebody doesn't know that you're the future and you're authoring the future and you're the architect of the future, that's not on you, that's on them. And it kind of speaks to what I'm about to say. And that is that when we're building, the reason that he was rolling with all those 80 alpha level mutant NFT artist last night is because that's who he gravitates towards. That's the people he likes to play with and likes to engage with and likes to create with. And that's important. When we are building and creating, we can find somebody who has the tools and skills that like we want to do something, and then we meet somebody who can do that thing. They may not be the right person to do that. It may be the person who is less better suited for it in some way, but who you gravitate with and who respects you and who honors you as a person. And when I'm creating teams and when I'm building teams, I'm very intentional in my team building. I make sure that I have all different kinds of people represented on my team. I have young people. I have people BIPOC. I have all genders. I have people from different economic backgrounds. That's a big one. I have people of different skill sets. And because if we are building a team and we don't have the future that we want to see on that team, then we're not building the future that we want to see. My man over here, the youth, Titan, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
My name's Yvonne, and as a young kid, I'm 16.
Yvonne. Yvonne, people can tell me no, I don't turn away. You just keep coming back. And then you find your people who are your allies, and you surround yourself with them. And that goes for in a Discord or your vision or your dream. You can have people who love you and they say, oh, but you should do something else, Yvonne. You shouldn't be in NFTs. You should get something more secure, more stable, or that other people can wrap their heads around. That person could be your parent. That could be your guardian. And they love you like light. Like I love my son. That doesn't mean that they get to decide your vision for yourself. So when I encourage you to find people that support your vision, you'll find people. And another thing, if you're in a Discord and you're getting that kind of energy, that may not be the right community to be
Might
in.
not be the right Discord. You know, and the thing is, you can come into a Discord if you've got the artwork or you've got something that you want to show to people. You can get opinions. I mean, we've had people come into our Discord channels and be like, you know, hey, check out what we're doing here. 9 times out of 10, no one's interested, but I saw something about NFT sharks. I used to surf, and I was like, oh, tell me about sharks. I want to know more about it. I jumped in their Discord. Now I'm an active member of, you know, some shark community, just because I'm interested in it. So you never know how it happens, but you're in these platforms, and if you've got something to share, you'll find eventually people. It doesn't have to be, you know, in the first place you start. So it's 100%.
Also, Discord is messy. You know, it's really hard to follow threads in Discord. So it's sort of like screaming in a really crowded room. I always tell people, go directly to the artists that you want to speak with. Go hit them on Twitter, hit them on Instagram. Don't be shy about that, because yes, people get a lot of messages, but people also want to see sincere new artists trying to get involved. And it's easier to have a communication with somebody directly on their direct message than it is in a Discord. So don't get caught up in that whole, you know, that's where everyone seems like they need to be, but because it's much easier to have a direct message from somebody. Even if it takes somebody 2 months to get back in touch with you. Someone might go through and be like, this kid, he's got some brilliant art. I should have looked at this earlier. You know, and you'd be surprised. I see this, my music partner Greg is out here. He hits up people just like nonstop, and we get answers back on our music months later for collaborations and things when people finally get a chance to take a listen to what we're doing. And like literally 6 months later, someone will be like, oh yeah, I forgot about you, Greg, you're that singer. And then boom, we're collaborating with them.
Just in closing, because we are out of time, you know, one of my favorite sayings is, the universe tends to unfold as it should. And with tribes, you'll find yours, or it'll come to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.